Hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Emily Snyder. I am the unit director up on labor and delivery, but have had a lot of situations recently that have reached close to my heart and wanted to spend some time educating all of us on generational diversity in the workplace and how we as leaders can be a little more effective in our handling of this multi-generational workforce. There's a couple handouts that you should have gotten today. One is the PowerPoint. I printed that out for you guys to have copies of and be able to take notes on, and also so you don't have to rewrite down everything I'm saying if anything interests you. The next part is an article on understanding generational diversity in the workplace that's actually based on what resorts are doing. So that's a neat lecture or a neat article. They do exclude the Generation Z, which is our newest generation to enter the workforce. But I thought it was a fantastic article for those of you who want to read it. And then the last piece that we have, or I have out there, is a course evaluation that I really, really would appreciate that you guys fill out. This is the first time that I am doing this course and would really love to continue it and maybe even further it more, tailoring it to what you guys feel would be necessary to lecture on. So I am more than open to any feedback and appreciate both positive and negative. And I know that's how this course can develop over time. So I'm just going to start right away. This should take about 10 minutes or so to go through all this generational stuff. Some of it I'll breeze through quickly. And if you have any questions, there will be room for comments and questions at the end. So what is generational diversity? What is diversity? That's the first thing that we're going to meet today. We're going to be able to identify the main generations in our workforce right now, what the core values of each of those generations are, why they come to work, why each of them has a different belief on work and leadership, actually. So we're going to compare the differences for each of those generations. We're also going to explain how these different generational differences can be turned into opportunities for a way to, use the values and everything of each generation and bring it to a positive aspect on our units and in our departments. And then the last part is going to be demonstrating communication strategies to improve interaction between generations. And at the end, we're actually going to do a role play. I just have like a quick scenario that you guys can role play on how you would handle both sides, but two different generations having a little bit of a conflict. So let's start off by just defining diversity. So what is diversity? Diversity, as mentioned or as defined in what Merriam-Webster's dictionary, is that condition of having or being composed of differing elements. And I think that holds true in all of our departments, with cultures, with age groups, with just experience levels. There's so many different diverse populations of our employees on our unit. So the 5 current generations in our workforce are the traditionalists, who most of them at this point have retired. But for those who haven't, financial security is a huge thing, and we'll go over that. The baby boomers, Generation X, which is our lost generation, millennials, which is the largest workforce right now that we have, or the largest generation in the workforce right now, and then Generation Z, which is our up and coming generation that we're starting to see out there as, in high school or in college, starting to get their feet wet in what it is to work out in the workforce. So let's start by talking about traditionalists. So our traditionalist group are born between the years of 1922 and 1943. They have a strong work ethic. These are our employees that respect the rules. They don't bend from the rules. They want to feel needed. They need to feel needed. That is a huge thing with this with this generation. They've always been out to work to support, and they want to make sure that they are there and they're valued. They enjoy flexible work schedules. They are loyal employees to their did not switch around much and haven't switched around much in their careers. They're team players. They desire quality. They work for what they want and what they need. They also are great mentors, even though this is, the oldest generation in our workforce right now. They are great, full of knowledge, full of wisdom, and can pass that along to our new hires. They also have a belief and would have a hard time when promotions and raises and stuff are not based on tenure. That's very important to them. They do not believe in just working to get a position. They believe in having been in a position to get the next promotion. Our baby boomers are born from 1944 to 1960. They're hardworking. They're also loyal. Teamwork is crucial for success for them. They are the generation that has started the term workaholics. They're competitive. They have very strong face-to-face communication skills. They have they measure work ethic based on what their hours worked are, not necessarily productivity. Their relationships are definitely valued, and where they are in status are define their self-worth. They are also great role models for our next generations. Generation X is our 1961 to 1980s. They're our latchkey generation, our lost generation. They have steady work ethic. They're not as loyal to their to their company at this point. They're more loyal to the employee or their employer, or like they're an individual, not necessarily to a company as a whole. Their respect is earned through performance. They want to know that you do well, and they do well in return. They're independent, but they work well with others. Our millennials, they're born from 1981 to 1995. Like I said, it's the largest generation in the workforce right now. These individuals are searching for mentors, and they want to they desire open feedback. They want communication. This is all stuff that might be newer than the our previous generations that I talked about. They search for a job that provides personal fulfillment. They don't stay in a position just because of a supervisor, or they don't stay in a position because of the company they work for. They want personal fulfillment, and if they don't get that, they may leave. They're optimistic, they're energetic, they want learning opportunities, and they work to live rather than live to work, which is something new to from the other generations we've already talked about, and they're achievement oriented. Generation Z are 1996 to 2012. So like they said, these are our high schoolers that are starting to get out there, our college freshmen who are maybe, applying for different jobs within a hospital, get their feet wet prior to graduation. So they're collaborative and creative. They're not teamwork oriented, actually, which I thought was interesting. And they're self-directed and definitely are said to be smarter than all the other generations. They need structure and like predictability in their workplace. And they have felt even from a young age to have a lot of pressure to succeed, and they like instant gratification. These are our generations that's grew up with technology. Our millennials grew up with technology, but this generation has never known not to have any type of technology. Everything that we have nowadays, they have grown up with in some form. Why is this important? It's important for us to all learn how to manage our manage all these generations. How do we get all these generations of all different values to work together? It's important to make sure that everyone's on the same page. As a supervisor, you're going to make sure that you give clear directions. If they're working in groups, you want to have deadlines. You want to have clear expectations of each of those individuals. And help them find a common ground. All of these generations have something in common based on what you're trying to work them towards. So making sure to find that commonality, have them sit down with you, have a conversation, how are we going to make this all go forward in a way that we all want it to? And have ongoing conversations, provide that feedback, and develop a mentorship program. Those younger generations aren't necessarily going to have the confidence to just go up and ask someone who's been there for years to be their mentor. So help them set things up. So I just want to thank you guys for taking these 10 minutes to sit down and talk to me. If you have any questions afterwards, I'm always available for conversation and open to email. So please reach out. Thanks.